Hello, 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 and good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. And it's been a while, but it's been a great time, coordinating a lot of things behind the scenes. So if you're joining us today, it's Masterpiece Conversations, and we have the pleasure of having some amazing women who have been with us earlier this year. And we are joined again to look at our first quarter. Believe it or not, the year is just going and it's running. And we started off this year with some amazing nuggets of wisdom. One of the books that has really impacted myself and my thought is Success is a Choice by John Maxwell. And we want to talk about it and debrief a bit about how the year has been and how it's going to be based on our choices, isn't it? So, welcome. I'll give you a few seconds to share the link with someone else that will be, will benefit from this conversation. My name is Tina, and I will be your host today. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. So let me do a quick thing, introduce two people who are joining me today. We have Sylvia here, and then I have Reese here, and we are going to just get started because we had a few things trying to do Zoom and it didn't work, and we came to StreamYard, so here we are. But you know them. If you haven't met them, I'm going to give them the chance to introduce themselves. Amazing, amazing ladies. Sylvia is telling me how much I do so many things, and I am telling her how much I'm learning from her not to do so many things. So it's working. And then Reese is like my person to tell me, you know what, I think you should start looking at this other area and exploring this. So I am blessed to have all these women in my life. And I'm sure that as we connect today and we talk about success being a choice, you're going to also learn a few things that will help you in your journey in this year, especially to define success for yourself. Okay. So welcome, ladies. I'm happy to have you. So Sylvia, I know you've been here, but let's give you the chance to introduce yourself again because someone did not meet you the other time. So let's just
Right. Hi, guys. I'm Sylvia Ofuri-Buedu, and I'm the founder of a nonprofit, You Emerge Motivations. At You Emerge Motivations, our whole goal is to help you be a better version of yourself. It's to help you unlock your potential and live your best life. That's You Emerge Motivations. If I have only one person changing their mindset about who they are, my job is done. If I have 1,000 people changing their mindset, my job is still done. As long as there's a change positive that happens. So glad to be here.
all right. So you had it. You emerge. Some of us have been hiding for so long. It's about time you emerge, right? So
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have to start think about, okay, can I connect with Sylvia somehow? She is on Facebook, so you can find her. But I believe you're going to learn some more, and then you're going to start your own journey if you haven't started, or
Yes.
maybe enhance it a bit more. So Reese, it's Reese's time.
Hello, hello, hello. Good to meet you, Sylvia. And yeah, my name is Reese Carey, the founder of Reese Oasis. This is a for-profit organization. I'm a psychotherapist, and I help people also be, the best version of themselves. But we go actually under your veil. I work with you. I call myself the minister of interior.
All right now.
Because yeah, we got to go deeper into this you self, the me, myself, and I, to shift some things and actually jack you up so that we can figure the stuff, the clogs, and all the different things with my Live by Design programs, emotional release and emotional detox, so that you can unclog and unlearn so that you will be ready. The soil of your mind will be ready for the new learning. So I'm just so grateful that the first Saturday in January, I got the the drill to come and talk about change. And we are in a quarter, and wow, time flies. And so I'm so grateful that we can be here and have this discussion.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I am so excited to have you both. And as we've been talking, I mean, there's a lot of things that we have to go back and look at, but a few things that, comes to mind just starting the year with all the ambitions that we had and the goals and all the great things. And here we are getting into May. I mean, like, oh, wow. Yeah, it's getting hot here. One of the things, one of the things that I am looking at when, I start reading this book or listening to the audio and it's saying that believe in yourself. And I'm like, okay, but I'm almost in May, and I did say I was going to do A, B, and C. So let's start from there. Like believing in ourselves. I mean, how does that help us to be successful? Or you can take it from any angle that you have experienced, or you've worked with clients on, and we can get started. Yeah.
See, when you talk about believing in yourself, and I like the title of the book actually, success is a choice.
Yeah.
Really and truly, everything we do in life is a choice, be it good or bad. You
Mm,
know, everyone has talent, but the next level of your talent really is believing in yourself. So we kind of impose limitations on ourselves when we don't try to breaking
mm,
through by
mm,
believing in ourselves, because everybody is created with some type of gift, right, in
right.
us, with some type of talent in us. So it's not the lack of talent that is not making you successful. It's the
Mm,
lack of belief in yourself and in your abilities. All you got to do is to just open your eyes to who you are and what you carry.
mm,
Then believe in what you carry. When you believe in what you carry, no one can really come in and tell you that you can't do this. When you believe in what you carry, you're able to, even when you fall, get back up, dust yourself
mm,
off, reevaluate, where did I go wrong? How can I change this? What can I do here? So really and truly, it's about you, the individual, taking stock of what you carry and believing in what you carry. Because if you don't believe in it, someone else can believe for you. But if you don't believe it, you're not going to put the effort to develop it and prune it and cultivate it for it to become successful.
right. No, I think that is so great because this week my daughter was trying to get a one of the other girl, like her sister, to validate her dressing, right? And so she picks her dress, and I thought it looks good. But then my little daughter says to her, "Well, I don't think that's good at all." And I said, "Well, it's up to you. You get to choose. Think about it. All our opinions are just opinions. If
Mhm.
you feel that this looks good on you, you got to believe that. And you have to wear it with a swag, and you have to wear it with some joy because that is your choice. As opposed to waiting for all of us to check off on it. Yep, yep, yep. Before now, you think that it's good enough,
Right.
you know?
Great example.
And so she did. She did. And then she went to school and came back and she said, I couldn't even believe it because people were like, wow, this is a good outfit. And I said, yes, once you choose the clothes, all our opinions are opinions. You get to, wear your clothes. And it doesn't matter. Like everybody doesn't like it. Not really. It's up to you to believe.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
I really think that is important because sometimes we have what it takes, but we
Mhm.
don't believe that we can do it.
We always have what it takes, right? But we
Yeah.
put roadblocks, impediments in our way. We put fear in our way, fear of what people might say, fear of failure, fear of not having enough resources to let it happen. But what we forget is that all you need to do is to just take a step. Like
Mm,
the first step to being successful is, after believing in yourself, is taking a step. Because
yeah.
you can't be stagnant and expect to move.
Right.
You know,
No.
Right.
just the other day, I was talking to a certain lady. She had asked me, I had done a talk on finances, how we as women can be right with our finances, tips on, being right with our finances.
Mm,
And she had seen me after the fact, a week after, and she was like, hey, Sylvia, I need to talk to you about how to do A, B, C, and D. It's like, okay. So I told her what to do. And then the next week, I asked her if she had done it. She was like, oh my God, I forgot. And I was like, okay, what did you forget? And then she told me. I gave her the information again. And she was like, man, my husband's family, all of them are business minded. I'm not business minded like that. And I was like, I'll stop you right there, because one of the things I had talked about was maximizing your strength, right?
Mhm.
And monetizing your strength. You know, she's a teacher. And I said, you have so much that you can actually do to become a business person. You're a certified teacher. There are a lot of schools in Asia that are looking for English teachers, right? And you
Mhm.
can just create your company right there, start promoting yourself, go on these websites, and right there and then, that's another source of income coming in. And she looked at me, she said, oh, wow. I didn't think of it that way. See, but she had the potential, but all she needed was belief. And in the book, John Maxwell talks about sometimes getting people that will help you open
Yes.
your eyes to what you carry. And for
Yeah.
me, I was honored to be that conduit for her to open her eyes to see the potential that she carries.
That is so, so true. And I mean, I think right there we're going to piggyback to Reese, but I want to acknowledge a few people. So I see Dr. V online. I see Ade on there. I see Reverend Nana and a few other people. So if you're on, just say hi to us and join the conversation. If you read the book, you can chime in. If you haven't, you can still listen because there's something you're going to learn. But Reese, exactly what, Sylvia was saying, we can sometimes just need, all we need is someone. And you act like that someone for me a lot of times, bringing that awareness. Like, I'm not even thinking about it. And then you'd be like, oh, you should go here and you should do this and you should do this. Actually, this whole thing about this quarter review was your idea, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, I think I can do that. you know?
Out in me. Mm.
I
But it's
need a
beautiful.
Reese.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that kind of making a choice, and then the fruit, the choice coming to fruition. But this is the
Mhm.
piece that I feel like we need to also anchor everyone listening and those who listen, later in recording that. But some people were told no. I'm so glad that you and your daughters were able to, I call it rapture repair,
Mhm.
in real time when she had her self doubt, and then you were able to validate her and say, hey, we can have our opinion, but it's about you. You have
Yeah.
no idea, maybe this would shift her mindset to something greater, and this conversation will come back whenever she has a self doubt. But some people were not fortunate like this. Oh, you can't sing. Oh, all they heard was can't.
Mhm.
Right.
So believing is not in the periphery.
Mm.
They need to make the choice to do the inner work first. Deal with those assumptions. Negative self-talk. Where did I get this from? Parents will say, oh, we are from a poor family. People just conceptualize these things. We, and as immigrants, you look around your home, start
Mhm.
spring cleaning. This is spring, right? Start spring cleaning and see the battle of those self thoughts and things. Oh, somebody in my home country can, will have use for this. Then it's hard to part with that thing.
Yeah.
We make boxes, right? So these things are accumulated. I'm going this angle because there are habits that have etched themselves in you. Like this wonderful teacher Sylvia described has all these wonderful skills. But what is the background chatter and noise that is preventing her from removing the debris and everything and getting to that belief and holding on to that and then building from there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think Reverend Nana had a question and he was saying that where do you draw the line when a dress is inappropriate? Or someone sends me a song for a review and I have to give my honest opinion. With my daughter, it wasn't the appropriateness of the dress that we would have addressed regardless, right? But it was more of a choice between I want to wear this one. You know how now they have these baggy jeans and then they also have their leggings they want to wear. So
Right.
okay, I think, the leggings looks good on me for today's dress outfit that I'm putting on. And this other person thinks a baggy jeans will work for me. That is a different conversation. If it's inappropriate, there's no lying about it. That we have to have an honest conversation about, right?
Right.
So I feel like that is, a different thing altogether, as opposed to this is appropriate. Whichever way I wear it is appropriate. It's just I'm trying to get validation. And that is, I mean, at least knowing my daughter, that's what I know. She likes the validation. She wants someone to validate. Even when she knows this is a great outfit, she wants that validation. And I think it's great, but it's not every time that you're going to get the validation. So you have to also come to a place where you believe that your choices are good, right? And this choice that you're making is great, even if not everybody may be aligned or be clapping for it. So
Right.
that is, another thing that we can talk about. So honest opinion, giving our feedback, I think that's more than welcome, as long as we are doing it in love, I believe, right? And I think we can definitely get people there. So now let's talk about choices.
Right.
Because you're making choices all
But
the
to, go,
time.
to even to get to choice, as
Mhm.
Reverend Nana said, honest opinion, and that is where Sylvia also said you need people. So connecting to the right people who you know will tell you the truth.
Hmm.
It's
Right.
important. Is it a professional who will
Mhm.
hold your hand and feed to the fire with accountability, or is it a trusted friend who can handle whatever you are bringing and you've tested them enough to trust those opinions? That is
Ooh.
also key.
See, and I'll piggyback off of what Reese said in the book, right? It talks about cultivating relationships in one of the chapters. Ooh,
Right.
yeah, that right there is everything. Okay, it ties into what Reese is saying. What got me in there is you need to recognize the fire lighters in your life and the firefighters in your
Oh
life.
my goodness.
I mean, I was like, wow.
Yep.
I never
Firefighters.
saw it that way, but
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? You can categorize your friendship or your relationships,
Mhm.
into two categories:
Mhm.
firefighters and
Mhm.
firelighters.
Yeah.
It's really self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Firelighters, right, will gas you up.
Yep.
Firelighters will say, I have a friend that said, hey, you're doing this thing, Sylvia, get yourself certified in this that you're doing. Get yourself certified as a life coach. Do this. She's
Yeah.
like, hey, I need you. I'm doing this. How about you do this? I don't, I'm not scared to go to her with my dreams and my aspiration, thinking that she's going to steal it.
No.
That's the kind of relationship we have. We sharpen each other and we push each other to be better. So
Mhm.
any move I'm making and any move that she's making is on the table.
Exactly.
Mm.
You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
we're not scared. Like I remember I was telling her we have some rental properties, and I was telling her that there's one that has been sitting for about 3 months, and I'm paying out of pocket. And I was like, "Girl, I need to reduce the rent that we've put out there." And she was like, "No, the right person will come. The house is in a great neighborhood. The right person will come. Leave it as is. However, do A, B, C, and D to spruce the place up. Get a professional to take pictures and post it, and all of that." She gave me all of that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's not saying, well, how come you have this? Maybe you need to sell it because the market is this and that. You need people that are firelighters. Firefighters will sap the energy out of you. Firefighters will tell you the budget is too big. You're trying
Mhm.
to buy this. Well, I mean, how are you going to manage it with all that you do? Your
Yes.
money, your this, your time, children. Like they will put impediments in your head, so you need to really evaluate relationships,
Mhm.
and the way, Tina, you talk about Reese, right? She adds into you. The
Yeah.
key, the one thing that was in the book that I'll be remiss if I don't read it,
Mm.
is it said, friendships are like bank accounts. Please hear me and hear me good because this is really good.
I love
Friendships
it.
are like bank accounts. You cannot continue to draw on them without making deposits. If
Mhm.
either of you becomes overdrawn and it stays that way, then the relationship won't last.
Mm.
Always be taken out of the bank account. You will go into the red. You
Yes.
need to be able to deposit as well. So if
Mhm.
someone is always withdrawing from you, your account will go negative. It has to be reciprocal. And it talks about that in the book as well. It has to be reciprocal. So we need to really reevaluate. So when you're reevaluating your friendship circle, your relationships, right? And you realize that you have more firefighters than firelighters, it's okay to make new friends.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with making new friends that can add to you.
Exactly. And that's the power of choice.
Yes, ma'am.
The next topic, the power of choice, right there. We keep choosing on a daily basis based on the things that we are supposed to pivot to, or our mindset shift needs, right? And so we make those choices. And even as that, the book also talk about, Albert Camus, every choice matters. Will this and every choice. So
Mm,
whether I choose to make those friends, as Sylvia said, or I choose to look out for those who nurture me and give me those ideas, as Tina said.
right.
We are choosing. And oh, for those of us, I'm going to call something out for those of us who are in default. Well, I don't know if, and that look one place, you made a choice by default.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us don't realize that the sum of our life is the choices we've made up to here. And so if you don't like what you see,
Change it.
make
Yes,
another
ma'am.
choice.
If you don't like what you see, change it. The choice is
Yeah.
yours. I mean, Reese, that's it right there.
Boom.
So that's
No,
it.
I think that is so great. Like thinking about it, the choices we've made, even if you think about January, February, March, April, 4 months already, and the choices we've made this year. Some of us said we are going to, I don't want to say lose the weight. What did we say we are going to do, Sylvia?
Oh, we're going to make the right choices.
We're going
Healthy,
to make
healthy
the
living.
healthy choices, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but we are still eating at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m., and then going to bed right after that. It's still a choice, right? I realized recently that it's a choice to drink soda. And I feel like when I get very tired, a whole lot of overwhelmed things going on at work and everything, I drink soda.
That's
So
me.
I said, that's you.
Girl,
We are
that's
working
me.
the confession together. So
It's called
I'm,
comfort stuff. We comfort
it's a
ourselves
comfort
with these
thing.
things that
Listen,
feel
this
good
is
for a
professional
moment.
right there.
Yeah. So there's a whole lot going on at work, and I'm like drinking this soda, drinking this soda. So, I mean, recently I sat back and I'm like, okay, what am I doing? Like, I don't drink a whole bunch, but still, I'm like, it's still not helping. So, what choice can I make? Then I said, okay, maybe it's the same water. I'm going to drink water. Think about it, it's flavored water. This one is more sugary water than I
Mm,
need. So I'm going to do different things with my water. Either I'm putting the grapes or whatever thing that I'm going to eat for fruits in the water. However, I'm going to get the flavor from my fruits into the water so that I can drink and make the better choice, right? And just making a setting decision around the choice I want to make and the fact that it's flavored water. It's flavored water. It's just one is too much sugar for me. And
yep.
one is actually helping me. That alone has started, I mean, helping me to make the right choice towards the water and then using whatever fruit I can to make it, better for
Right.
myself.
But
But
you made
then,
a choice to check in with yourself.
yeah,
It
Yes.
was a check in.
Yes.
Yes, those overwhelming stuff is happening. And you also recognize your tendencies and you had to pull back and do
yeah.
a check in. You needed that appraisal of where you are from January, what you said. So you see, you looked at the goal
Mm,
and you look at your own marker and you realize something is not adding up.
Right.
You confess with your mouth the good things in January. We did that. We pumped ourselves up, right?
yeah.
And we believed in our heart that is going to happen. Romans 10:10. But there is something not matching. And you were real and raw
Hmm.
in
Mhm.
addressing what that is. I'm stressed. I'm overwhelmed. And these are the habits when I'm stressed and when I'm overwhelmed, what I do.
Right.
What are the choices that I need to make to balance me out?
Right. Right.
Mm,
And sometimes we do the same thing expecting different results. And
true.
that's just not going to work. How about let me change the way I'm doing stuff so
Hmm.
then the results will come. You know, if you're doing the same thing expecting different results, you can't really blame somebody else for where you haven't gotten to.
No.
You need to sit back, like Reese said, take stock, accept
Mm,
responsibility, hold yourself accountable, you know, just see where you've gone wrong and then retrace your steps and start back up. It's never too late. When you fall, you can always get back up. The worst thing you can do is to stay down. Joshua Selman, I had him say something, and I think the congregation he was speaking to was not sure about it. And I'll say this, even for me, it took me a minute to let it sink in. But what he said was, poverty is a choice.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I was like, wait,
What are you talking about?
right. Then he started breaking it down. But when he was breaking it down, I was like, he's actually making a lot of sense. That's why the book Success is a Choice also makes sense, right? It's the same thing. There are a vast number of opportunities out there, right? Be you educated or not, be you a certain race or not, there are a whole, be you in a certain economic bracket or not, there are opportunities out there. Plus, there are individuals out there who, with little, have made it a whole lot. So, really and truly, we don't have an excuse, right, to still be in the same spot that you were. At least we need to see some level of movement in the right direction. Even if it's a millimeter, it's a movement that you can celebrate. So really, I mean, I think choices are huge. It's a very deep word, and we need to see it for what it is.
I agree. I agree. And in expanding on just that millimeter, some of the things we have to do are actually very invisible. Like that mindset shift, right? That will
Mhm.
lead you to the next thing. But most of us are looking at the physical, tangible stuff and get frustrated because we don't see the tangible, but we are shifting, mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, psychologically. And actually, that's the capacity you need for that physical thing you need to do. I've been drinking celery juice for a while, and I'm telling you, it is doing wonderful things in my body. I'm a woman of a certain age, and hormones and transitioning. And believe you me, that juice has brought equilibrium to a point where I have a niece who came to visit, and where she was, celery is not planted in that climate, right? So I said, you need to find this for this your particular issue. Do you know that it was a chore? It was very difficult to find. So she said, you know what, Auntie, I'm coming. So you know what? I'll be here for 6 weeks. So we will drink it every day. And so I said, you know what, when you drink it every day, we will find the seed so that we will figure out a way for you to test it out. So, I went online to Walmart, the website, and typed in celery juice. And what I saw said, hey, if you buy this product, it has about 2,500 seeds. So I said, what? 2,500 seeds in this packet? Okay, let me get this packet. One was from Utah and one was from California. So I'll get it different, two types. And the California one said 1,500 seeds. So as they shipped it, I was looking for envelopes that were bulky, right? I mean, it was like this size of my hand. So I'm talking about, we always talk about faith of a mustard seed, right? Celery. Imagine celery, the whole stalk that you are
Right.
going to juice and drink. This whole stalk, the seed is minute. Because if 1,500 or 2,500 can fit the smallest envelope, those tiny envelopes like this, and it's not even half of it. And they
Wow.
have 2,500 seeds. Think about that. But then today I went to another level with it and said, so that little seed, that means if my niece press her hand in the seed, right? Just like you did in your science class, and you put it in that potting, that small cup potting, right? And you water it, they'll sprout to become little seedlings, right? And then you can remove them and replant them into your raised bed. Can you imagine? This is what is happening to you when you make those small daily dose of choices.
Wow.
I yield.
No, that's actually a great example. That's a great example of
Yeah.
the fact that even though she didn't have it by her, right? She didn't have access to it. There were other ways, and she found other ways, and both of you found other ways. That's the thing. We can't just stop when we hit a roadblock. You know,
Mm.
you can go around, you can go over, you can go under, you can go in between, but just don't let the roadblock of the wall stop you.
Exactly.
You
And,
know,
and what we are trying to fix is a problem that hasn't happened. We are looking at a diagnosis that could result in infertility down the road.
mm,
And
Mm.
we are solving the problem now.
that's true. In the book, John Maxwell talks about, he uses the phrase, right? If it ain't broke, you know how
Don't,
usually we say, if it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
don't fix it. In the book, he says, if it ain't broke, break it.
Break
Exactly.
it.
Be the
You
first.
fix it.
Yeah, be the first. If it ain't broke, break it. Because when you
Yeah.
break it, other things will come out of it. That's why he talks about focusing your embracing practices, right? And
Mm.
there was a portion of embracing practices in the book that talked about doing the extra. Because a lot of times we don't want to put in the effort. It takes effort, to actually make something. And he said the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is the extra. I'll say
Exactly.
Extra.
it again. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is the extra. What does that mean? Extra time,
Extra time.
extra
Extra
effort,
commitment. Yep.
extra commitment, extra help. Heck, when my son was struggling with school, with reading, I had to get extra help for him. Now that boy has high honors every semester, but I had to get him that extra help, extra effort. If you don't put in that extra, you can't, you're limiting your success. And that's what we have to understand. So we really need to shift our mindset,
Mhm.
right? And not let roadblocks hinder us, because life is not fair in general.
No.
Roadblocks will always happen. How you deal with the roadblocks is what will separate you from everybody else. That is the separation between ordinary and extraordinary. That is
Right.
the separation between someone like Michael Jordan being the greatest of all time. That
Mm.
difference between someone like KFC who got successful later on in life. The extra. You would be told no a lot of times.
Many times.
Guess
Mhm.
what? Keep going. Somebody somewhere will definitely give you that. Listen, all you need is that one yes.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
One
I don't care if it's a whisper.
Mhm.
I don't care if it's with a megaphone.
year.
But when you get that yes, sometimes that's all you need.
That's all you need.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Yep.
all you need. So when he talked about embracing practices in his book, I'm like, a lot of us, we want the end results without going through the journey.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
The journey is also part of it.
The
Mhm.
journey's part
And
of it.
that's why when you have passion for what you're doing, the journey might be very difficult, but you will still go through it because you have a passion for what you're trying to do. You
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
might not want to wake up in the morning, but you're like, oh, you know what? I believe in what I'm just going to drag. Even if you drag yourself out of bed, as long as you got out of bed, you got out of bed, whether you drag yourself kicking and screaming or not. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
And I want to reframe what you just said, Sylvia,
Yes, ma'am.
because in that setting, as a matter of fact, the book even tells us we are only using 10% of our
10%.
capabilities.
Mm.
So really, we have not hit our stride. So
Mm.
in reframing, you are working 10%. You are giving yourself a tithe. In the church world, right? You
Right.
give 10%.
Yeah.
And you're giving 10% to your life. And there is 90 that you can explore and extract from.
Can you
Think about that.
imagine?
You have
Amazing.
90 to explore from.
Amazing.
So the snag you claim you've hit is still on the 10%, and there is 90.
And I think, Reese, let me just even add that. Just, both of you saying this, it just put something in my mind that I just remembered. And the snag is actually a catapult, if you think about it.
Mm.
Depending on how you see it, it's going to be a roadblock. And
Exactly.
you'll be fixated. But if you think about it clearly, it's giving you a detour. And sometimes the detours are even the better path for you, because on that detour, you're going to meet someone else. On that detour, you're going to form this relationship. On that detour, you're going to encounter something that if you had just kept going, you may not have experienced.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's how we even see some of the roadblocks that come up.
Mhm.
Like this year when we started talking, Sylvia, and you have no idea, but we're talking about some of their lives, and you're saying, oh, that's a lot and all that. So I had to evaluate that, right? And then I said, okay, I'm going to start more of an in-person approach anyway in Lexington, and then an online version. So we're going to have to balance this together.
Mhm.
And so I started the in-person one. And initially, the first one I had in February, it wasn't much attended, about 10 people, 15 or so. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good start. And then my kids were like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's a good start. It's an in-person first time. It's a good start. Then we did another one. And this time we had over 40 people attend. And then our next one that we are looking at in May, we are expecting about 100 plus people to be in attendance based on the capacity for the room, right? Even in looking back at that episode of the first one, I would have given up on it, because I'm like, am I sure people are going to show up, if I do this in-person thing? Is it going to work? But you know what? It's just that embrace the practice. Just keep
And the
doing
Do not
choice. And the
despise
choice you
humble
made, right?
beginnings.
it.
Yeah. Do not despise humble beginnings. A
Yeah.
lot of times, I think Reese had mentioned that earlier. We're looking for the big things.
Mm.
We're looking for the wow.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes it's in the still small voice. How are you going to handle the 10 that I gave you?
Exactly.
If you can handle the 10 that I gave you, like there are 100,000 people, trust me, I will multiply.
Exactly.
Right.
You see what so that's
Yeah.
why you emerge. We're like, even if it's only one person, that changes their mindset about where they are, who they are, and trying to be better. I know my job is done. Because
Mm.
I have to be able to be trusted with little.
With little.
You trust me with little, you know that when you give me a lot, I got you. So that's how we have to see it. I have a pastor friend that does prayer sessions, online prayer and stuff like that. When he started with just very little people, and it was frustrating for him. But the one thing was, regardless of the number, the passion with which he actually delivers. You would think that man is delivering to 200,000 people. I applaud him for that. But when he's done, he gets a little low. Like, man, people didn't come. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Just keep doing it. And before you realize, you would blow up. You would touch more than enough people. And the people that you're touching now, you're ordained to touch them. They're the ones that are for you. They're the ones that need to hear you now. Because everything starts from
Little.
As a
see that?
sprout, that celery seed, that's tiny celery seed. It
There
starts
you
from
go.
that small celery seed, and it's going to grow and mature into that wonderful stalk. And so, based on even this discussion and where you are in your journey, and I've been there, done that. I used to hold that kind of online prayer thing, but you know what I learned? It wasn't about the people; it was about me. Let's flip it for a second. It was about my persistence, my discipline, because God knew exactly where He was taking me. And I needed to show up regardless of who showed up. So sometimes when you flip it, it's for you. Tina, this afternoon, we had a conversation like, listen, you were doing dress rehearsal. Listen, moveon.com.
I know. I know. No, but Gloria said great analogy, but a few more things before our time is just like, it's just going so quickly. But we wanted to touch a few more points in the book. And one of them, he had talked about, how you have to fire up your passion
Woo.
and initiate action. I think those two, I looked at it, I'm like, okay, how do I fire up my passion, right? Like, I want to be passionate about what I'm doing. But sometimes when you're doing it and there's not a whole lot of applause and, the standing ovation and your name in the news, a lot of us give up on it, because then we feel like the passion is not taking us anywhere. But you just alluded to it a few minutes ago, Sylvia, when you said that your friend is doing it with a whole lot of passion, as though there are 10,000s of people on the prayer line, when it's just a few people. But we have this tendency when we are, executing things, and then we don't see that it's as big or is as whatever, that we are not that faithful with firing up the passion for this small thing that we've been entrusted to. So how do we do that? How do we fire up our passion and initiate the actions? I like that one. Initiate, not waiting for someone to kick me before I say, oh, now I'm going to do that, but really initiate, being proactive. I see that a whole lot of times at work. And even at work, I'm surprised how laid back people are. And then they're surprised they're not getting promoted or they're not doing whatever. But
Right.
nobody's going to give you anything. If everything you have to be told, do this, okay, then you do. You're not a supervisor. You need a supervisor, actually.
Right. You need a supervisor.
But to your point, actually, most of us, even in the 10%, even though all of us are expending our energies and resources only 10%, some people are doing the default, not even the 10%. Let's be real. So if you are in that simple, mechanics of, well, that's all there is that I can give, like you said, they are living in default. So somebody has to tell them, hey, get up and do. And that's the only way they know how to function and move into the day. So even though we are supposed to, and I believe the 10% is those who have maxed it out. We're talking about people operating below half a percentage, 1%. And then we bring it up. So this needs evaluation and real deep self-reflection, right? Where are you even in this journey, right? Because if you need to be told, if somebody needs to motivate you, or you need somebody to pump you up to take that one step and make that choice, then you start from the ground zero of your why. Why do I need someone to tell me to get up and do this before I do it? Why do I need applause to be able to get up and go? And these are all, Walt Disney says the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. It sounds simple, but it's so profound.
Yeah.
True.
Oh yeah. Next month I'm going to start my 401k. I've had people who have been working for years in America and they don't have a 401k. And they're not working menial jobs. They're working good jobs. I mean, good jobs. And they don't want to, next month I'm going to do the 401k. I have a project in Ghana I'm working on, but after that, I'll do the 401k.
We're always doing projects at home. But we live here, right? We're always doing projects at home, but we live here. This year, I told my husband, whatever projects we have, wrap it up. We're selling it. We're investing here because this is where I am.
Yeah.
But when you talk about passion, firing up your passion, right? You ask the question, in order for you to identify what your passion is, you need to take stock of who you are, right? You need to identify what your strengths are, right? You identify what your strength is. That strength becomes your superpower. That strength is something that you maximize and you can monetize to get you to be successful, right? If you love to cook, that's your passion. I like to talk. I'm a very good listener. So I put it together. We're doing life coaching. So you have to understand who you are, and you cannot covet someone else's passion. That's proprietary to them. You have your own, right? Focus on your passion and how to develop your passion. In the book, it talks about focus your energy, right? Live in the present.
Yeah.
Stop looking in the rear view mirror. Oh, I used to be that. I used to do this. I coulda, shoulda, woulda. Look forward, right? Look forward. Live in the present. How can I be better? So something happened in the past. If you keep focusing on that, you will lose sight of what's ahead of you. You get your passion, you grab it, and you say, okay, now let's say mine is listening to people. Now, Sylvia, how can you maximize the fact that you're a good listener? How do you develop that? Because at the end of the day, we're talking about success,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? You cannot be successful without influence. You cannot be successful without money. It all encompasses. You cannot be successful without great relationships, right? So you
Mhm.
figure out what your passion is. Then you sit and figure out, okay, how can I take this passion of mine to the next level? I
Mm.
think it wasn't Miles Monroe. I can't remember his name. He's a motivational speaker. What he said was he knew he had the gift of gab. He could talk, he could make people laugh. And he's like, I'm going to monetize that. Dude is making like, why can't I remember? I can't remember his name. But the point is, your passion, even the Bible says your gifts will make room for you.
You'll make room. Mhm.
So why are you sitting on that gift that's supposed to make room for you? You got blinders on. Take
Right.
the veil off.
Hmm. But you
Open
know
your
what is
eyes.
also
The men will
interesting?
say, shine your eyes.
Yeah, what is interesting is the fact that most of us live either in the past or in the future. We don't live in the present moment. And I love the way you said, Sylvia, that you told your better half to no more projects. We live here, let's invest here. And do you know what we do for our population? Let me throw this in there. Most of us are gathering for retirement. And I will tell you, I have had the experience of my two sisters in laws who were waiting for retirement, who died before their retirement.
Mm, yeah.
Build houses they never lived in.
They never lived in. Yep.
So you see, prioritizing even these things and making the choice, right, to live in the present moment will serve you maybe and your vision better. Because the things you are, like you said, the rear view mirror, and that's what provokes anxiety. When you are looking back,
Mm-hmm.
you are depressed
Right.
because that woulda, shoulda, coulda, you said it so well, is depression. So if
Yeah.
you're depressed, there are things that you have not resolved in the past. And then we don't live in the present moment.
No.
Then we are looking, worried about a future that has not even showed up. And that is
Mm,
called anxiety. And so this mindfulness thing that has taken off is just so that we can live today.
in the
We
present.
can take the moment and relish it and savor it and make choices about now that will impact the tomorrow. So you see, either we are looking in the rear view mirror or we are looking way into the future that has not happened. Meanwhile, we are frozen in the present moment.
Wow.
And I'll say something to what Reese said. When you figure out what your passion is and you're trying to monetize it and you're trying to manage it and you're trying to live in it to be successful by living in the present, one of the things that you always need to do, one of the things that you always need to do is not bite off more than you can chew, right? Because a lot of times I'm looking for something huge, but that huge thing, I can break it up into little pieces
Mm.
that would be able to work. I remember one time, one of my little girls had called me and she was like, Auntie Sylvia, I am so depressed. And I said, what's going on? She was like, well, I had called this guy who was her mentor, right? Who was successful or is successful. And she had this huge dream. Like she was like, I want to do this. Da, 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 da. And it was a great dream. It was a great vision that she had. But looking at the vision and looking at her now, or in that instance, you can't, the two don't add up. The two weren't adding up. And he pretty much told her that. So he kind of broke her a little bit, right?
Mm.
So right off the phone call with him, she called me. Then I asked her, what exactly did you tell him? What exactly is this thing that you're trying to do? And when she told me in my head, I said exactly what that mentor had said. Ooh, man, that's a lot. However, that's not what she needed to hear. So what I said to her was grab a piece of paper and come back and let's talk. And I said, write down that big vision. The next thing I said was, do you have a business name? She said, no, I don't. I said, do you have a business plan? She said, no, I don't. I said, okay. How about this? Step 1, business name. Step 2, register your business. Step 3, business plan. So then we're breaking it down in bits and pieces. So she can celebrate the first 3.
Right.
It means I'm moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Step 4, get you a business coach that is doing what you're doing. See, if we're only looking at the huge thing, sometimes it can get very daunting. And sometimes that's where the firefighters come in. But when you break it, that's where you need the right people in your corner. If you start breaking it down in bits and pieces, guess what? You will be able to bite it, you'll be able to chew it, and then it gets easier along the way. It gets easier along the way.
And so are the habits too. So
Mm.
are these micro habits that becomes impactful in your life.
Mm.
We are looking at a huge, Tina said it, so I'm going to say it, weight loss. And so it becomes insurmountable. But what am I changing in replacing the soda with the water?
Mhm.
What am I changing in eating maybe at 6 p.m. or 7 is my cutoff, and I don't let anything hit my stomach till 7 a.m. the next day. So I make the 12 hours of a fast. Something is not touching my tummy so that my body can digest and rest.
Mm.
These are micro choices that when we begin to engage in, and actually, as I said earlier, you might not be able to measure it. But before you know it, wow, 12 hours with nothing, your body is adjusting, the hormones are adjusting, and oh wow, these pants can fit. You see the goal? That big goal is those small micro changes.
Yeah.
And you see micro changes that you're talking about, that right there can be shifted in every facet of our lives.
Absolutely.
I remember I had done a Facebook Live. My husband and I would do Facebook Live. I think it's in August. It's when we do it on money. And he had talked about these apps like the Robinhood and the Acorns and the Beanstalks and stuff like that. And when I do the Facebook Live, I learn from the guests that come on, and it actually helps me. So he taught us how to actually get on there. And I did it. Listen, and I set it up where every month a certain amount comes out of my paycheck and goes there. I don't even think about it. And I think it was about 3 months ago. I didn't even remember my password. Can you believe that?
I believe it.
3 months ago, I was like, oh, let me see what's going on in there. I changed my password and all of that. Girl, I was like, what? And this is where little drops of water make a mighty ocean.
It does.
Because there were some stocks in there that I was like, did I choose that stock? Like there was one AI stock that blew up. So then as a result, my portfolio blew up, So I was just like, all these little things. I did that and I didn't think about it, but those are little choices every month. I think it was even $75 every month that goes in there. But what's in there now? So when you talk about micro choices, there are rewards in these micro choices.
Oh yeah.
You will see the results.
Oh yeah.
Like you're saying, eat right, sleep right, sleep at a good time, drink water. You would see the effect on your body versus I'm losing weight. Like, you put pressure on yourself. You see what I'm saying? By little. Just like your friends who haven't done 401k, right? They're thinking is this huge thing.
It's huge.
Little, and you will see the results. That's a great point, Reese, that you brought up.
Yeah. And even in that, like I said, I'm a woman of certain age, and this menopause hormones raging and all that. So stumbling upon this celery juice book, see, I had to make the choice to read. The information led to, oh my goodness, I don't have to take this and that and go through all these different things. Guess what? I will give this a try. First of all, for me, being in the holistic wellness space, okay, it's natural, right? It doesn't have these other side effects. So what is it? What am I, what have I got to lose? The next stage is I've read the book. I have to get that micro juicer, something small enough to just extract the juice for me. So you see, micro choices.
Micro.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then for learn how to use that juicer, cutting off my celery, and my goodness, not only have I like my skin is glowing,
Mm-hmm.
weight that I didn't even think I'd want to drop has dropped. So it wasn't the end goal, right? But all these wonderful benefits. Even today, my niece, when we finish the juice, we use this ninja, caps. So I had it for her, and she goes, "Did you stop drinking?" I said, "Heck no, I will never stop drinking. This juice, you have no idea what it has done for me."
The benefits of it.
Exactly. But see, and these sayings where people will say, if you want to hide something from a person of color, put it in a book.
Mm.
And what I want to say is that the reason why some are working 3 jobs so they cannot access the thing because they are always tired, right?
Yeah.
Some are using their time in junk time, doing other things rather than reading Success is a
Reading.
Choice. And this
Reading.
book is actually on YouTube.
I know.
And I was telling people that, but we make all the excuses. I don't have Audible. I don't have this, so that we will not apply ourselves to the truth that will set us free. So the micro choices actually opens you up to your possibilities. And are
Yeah.
we really making them? Because that Housewives of Atlanta is what, 30 minutes to an hour. And this Success is a Choice. You can use the same 30 minutes and an hour to get a nugget and run with that nugget. It's your choice.
Mm.
Okay, you know what? I love my Housewives of Atlanta, though. Let me
That's
just
okay.
say.
Yeah, that's okay.
As long as you're balancing
Sometimes
it.
we
Right?
use
Hey, we got to balance.
sometimes we use it to
We abuse it. Yeah.
decompress and relax.
Yes,
But if
yes,
I'm
yes.
giving that 30 minutes, I also want to give a 30-minute to build me up. So the balancing is key.
You have to get a good balance. You
Right.
have to for sure get a good balance.
I
But
love
that book, Success is a Choice, like if you don't take care when you read it, right? And I would say this, I personally recommend it. I mean, if you don't take care when you're done reading it, you might quit your job.
Disclaimer,
say,
yeah, right? I like
Yeah.
that.
I can do this. I can do this. And because it tells you that you can.
You
Yeah.
can.
You are your own limitations.
Mhm.
Your limitations are self-imposed.
Exactly.
You have to believe in yourself. It challenges you. It makes you think. It makes you plan. Like
Mhm.
I was guys, like legit.
It's legit. It's
Oh, she has the
legit.
hard copy to prove it.
I sure do. I sure do.
Yeah. But you see, that's the beauty, even as we are demonstrating right here. So you see, how do you pour? Some of us are in family structures and dynamics that we are stressed about impact. We are stressed about influence, right? Of maybe our partners and our children. And yet you are not impactful, but you're complaining.
Mm.
Your habits, those micro choices you make, are not impacting anybody's life.
Mm.
And you see the end results and you are wondering where it came from. And sometimes all these other people that you are shifting the blame on, and you begin to do your work and your mindset begins to shift, it will shift the entire system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This dovetails beautifully. We are over our time, but this month we our book of the month, and I a lot of people don't pay attention to it, but those books that I put out there for the month, one next month is going to be Lean In. Because Women's Month is next month, so we're going to talk about a book that's called Lean In. But This is Sex is a Choice is a book that we are actually highlighting for the whole year, right? And the book that of the month for this month is The Four Agreements. And I
Oh
don't know
my
if you've
goodness.
read it.
I have.
It's such a great book to read and to have these four agreements in place. Because if you're in a difficult spot, sometimes like you said, you're putting the blame on everybody else. And there are actually agreements that you can make with yourself and with so many other things and just go through it,
Mhm.
And I'm like, whew. That is good to know. And again, it's on YouTube audio. You can listen. And there's so many other opportunities that we have to invest in the knowledge that is available. there's no way we can say that we don't have access to things, even if you don't have the
That's
physical book.
that's investing in yourself.
Yeah.
You're reading. You're really actually investing in yourself when you're reading
Mm.
books that can help you be better.
Yeah.
And to actually piggyback on what Sylvia is saying, you said this young woman came to you downcast based on what their mentor told them. The truth was too hot to handle, but she
Mhm.
knew you could soften that blow and help her with the tidbits of what she needs to do.
Right.
But
Right.
do you know that some of us don't also want to invest in anything?
Mm.
Because if somebody has already gone through whatever you are going through, and in the name of a coach, and you are supposed to pay money to access that coach, some of us who actually spend 20 years beating about the bush than that 1,500 or 1,400 investment that will
No,
cut the time shorter for you.
it is very true. You know how in the beginning I had talked about I had a rental property that I was trying to rent out.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to do it myself
Mm.
for about 3 months. So I was paying out of pocket for 3 months. Then my girlfriend said, okay, time out. Get you a realtor. Because I didn't want to have to pay the realtor fee.
But you are paying somewhere else.
Exactly.
Okay, I got the
Insanity.
realtor, like legit. In 3 weeks, I have a tenant. So I had wasted 3 months
Trying to save.
when I could have just paid the realtor, and
Exactly.
within 3 weeks,
Yeah,
we closed.
that's what, yeah, like I said, our population, that's what we do. Oh, it's too
For me,
expensive.
that was a lesson learned, right?
Right.
And the book talks about accepting responsibility and
Yes.
learning from it.
Yeah.
So now I know that I'm calling that realtor anytime, any day.
Exactly.
So we need to also be able to take responsibility when we make the wrong choices and learn from it and
Right.
not make that same choice again as
Mm-hmm.
we move forward.
And also view money as a tool. Money is a tool, but with
Mm.
our world and the lack and the, I mean, yesterday was so interesting. My niece was saying she was going to make meat pie, and while she was doing her filling, I think salt, a little bit of salt went into a batch of the filling, so she had it, separated. So when she had finished the pie, I said, "What are you going to do with this?" She said, "Oh, we'll mix it with something." I said, "No, we throw it out." So where we come from, knowing the waste or the implication on somebody's life, we orient ourselves thinking about money as, oh, this treasure we hide. No, it's sometimes the tool to get you to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
For sure.
Well, I have to be mindful of time. I think we've had a great conversation. For those of you who haven't noticed, we are doing the Nominate a Mother for Mother's Day. We have 2 gift baskets or a gift card, depending on where the person is located, that we are giving. So if you haven't nominated someone yet, I want us to highlight the immigrant mother who is, putting all their best to raise kids. It's not that easy. And again, it's one of those things that we don't do a lot of, like spotlighting Sylvia and saying, you know what, you've done a great job, or you're doing a great job, and encouraging a mother and, making, that mother feel special on this Mother's Day. So we have opportunity for 2 mothers. We want to hear their story and we want to honor them and celebrate them. So if you haven't done that, nominate a mother. And yesterday I was privileged to meet Maji Maj, who was going on her book tour, who passed through Lexington. So Maji Maj gave us some books, Be Her Champion, right? From her book tour that she's making. So we have some books that we are giving as well as part of our Mother's Day treat, so that you will be her champion, just like you can also, give back later on and be someone else's champion. So thank you all for joining. I see a lot of you are on there. We've had people come in and out, but Gloria, I think you said a few things. I want to spotlight that. Hello, Gloria. And then Sheila was on too as well. I think Ade had a question. Let's make sure we answer that before we go. It says earlier when you talked about friends that both deposit or something, or make deposit, right? Could you share how to find such people, especially in a new environment? Like if you're new to the US and you're an immigrant, how do you find these, friends? How do we find them?
you have to be intentional,
Yeah.
right? Making friends in a new environment, you have to be very intentional. And you also
Mhm.
have to be in tune with what you want out of
Yeah.
that friendship, So if what I want is someone that would encourage me, someone that would motivate me,
Mm.
you can feel that when you interact with someone. You will know if that person's energy is good or that person's energy is bad. But don't be too caught up in I want to make a friend, I want to make a friend, so you miss those signs of the red flags of this
Right.
person might not sharpen me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that, being intentional. It's like building your own village where you are. And
Yes.
sometimes going out of your comfort zone, because a lot of us, when it comes to building these relationships, you're looking at our own kind. And if it's not my own kind, then I cannot have a relationship. I am pleasantly surprised every time I look at these things, because the people that actually help Masterpiece, like, just to be honest, are people that are not my kind, honestly. And they are out there and they are champions. Like this week, we had the Nominate This Mother thing, and one of my friends in another not-for-profit here in Lexington was like, "Oh, you know what? We should translate these into Spanish and Swahili and other things." I hadn't even thought about that, because I was doing English, as English is all I knew, right? So now
Mhm.
when you see some of these come out in Swahili, it comes out in Spanish, it's all because I thought about it. Is because I had a friend who thought about it and said, "Hey, I think we should do this a little bit more." So even for the immigration workshop, she's helping us to get translators so we can have Spanish, we can have French, in addition to English. Not something I had thought about, right? But it was just being intentional and making myself open to have some friends that are not like me. They're just not like me,
Yeah,
right? So I think we have to be uncomfortable to get to comfort at a point.
yeah,
Absolutely.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Rissy, do you have any thoughts on that before we go?
Yeah, so my final thought is just do it. That's the
Just do
Nike. Yeah,
it. Like
just
it's
do
so
it.
good. Yeah, just do it. So we've come this first quarter. I mean, we've had so many things. We've gotten the time to come back again. We will come back again with Success as a Choice, another review. I'll give you the time, I think in a few months, about 4 months or so from now, just getting to the end of the year, right? And
Mhm.
we'll sit back and say, okay, how much progress are we making? What are we doing, right? But what you need to do is to get the book. If you don't have the book, listen to the audio and listen again and take notes. It's a book.
Just saying.
Yeah, just saying, get the book, read it, apply the things you're learning, find a friend, build a relationship, light up your passion, initiate action, like take initiatives, and don't be shy to ask for help whenever you need it, or to buy the help. Sometimes you need to buy help with a coach, with someone who is doing this type of work. And Sylvia is a great, great, great mentor. So if you don't, I mean, you don't need her number, you can find her on Facebook. If you find Sylvia, type in her whole name, I'll put her whole name there. And then click on her, you can find her, and it will take you to UEmerge, sign up. And even if it's just 2 sessions that you can do, invest in yourself this year. Like, take that opportunity. This year I'm investing in myself.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to do some stillness. For some of us that we don't know how to be still and we are always fidgeting, fidgeting all over the place. You want to reach out to Reese and say, you know what? I think it's about time I dealt with some of these things that I have,
Mhm.
right? And you go out there and you get it, because it's a choice. You end up spending the same money on something else, and then you end up at the end of the year the same place. Or you can invest that money into something else, and this year you will see movements in your life in another dimension that you never thought was possible. Again, back to us is a choice. Okay. So thank you all for joining. Thank you,
Thank you for
Sylvia
having me.
and Nisi. I appreciate you coming together for this. And we hope to pull on you one more time before the year ends to talk again.
Thank
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us. Thank you,
you.
guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.